Normally, I like to nerd out about one running shoe at a time, but every once in a while, I find it useful to zoom out and take a look at a brand as a whole. This is the Puma running lineup of spring 2026. Yo, what's going on? My name is Kofuzi and I'm a non-elite runner who reviews running shoes here on YouTube. And today I want to talk to you guys about the Puma running lineup as of about early May 2026. But before we give you my thoughts on these shoes, I do want to go over some disclosures. I think all of these shoes were provided to me by Puma at some point for the purpose of review, so I didn't have to pay for any of these shoes. However, nobody's paying me to make this video or to include their brand in this video, and no one's gonna get a chance to preview any of my footage or my thoughts before you guys get a chance to see this video on YouTube. So with that disclosure out of the way, let's talk about the Puma running lineup, and let's start with the Daily Trainer. The Daily Trainer is the centerpiece of any good running shoe rotation, and it's the kind of shoe that you can reach for most of your runs, most of your days. So it not only has to be versatile and can handle just about anything, it also has to be durable. And the Velocity is a really great example of that. It's got a very comfortable upper with materials that will hold up over time, and it has a very comfortable midsole with this nitro foam. Now what we're going to see is that nitro can mean a lot of things from Puma. In this case, it means aliphatic TPU or aTPU, and that's one of my favorite things to see on a spec sheet when I'm looking at a running shoe these days. It's a material that can be really light, but also really durable, really soft, but also really fast. And there are grades to aliphatic TPU, so there's stuff that goes into the racing shoes, and there's stuff that goes into the daily trainers like in the Velocity. And what we're getting here is a shoe that is a little bit on the firm side, but it also is a little bit on the speedy side, if you ask me. And so it can handle a lot of pace changes really well. Now, if you want something that's a little bit softer, and generally I like really soft shoes for my everyday training, Puma has a really good option for you there. This is the Max Cushion shoe. This is the Magnify Nitro 3. Now this is a shoe that also is using a nitro foam, but the nitro in this shoe is Peba. And Peba is another material that we typically only see in racing shoes. But again, a lot of foams can have different kind of grades or levels, and they could be tweaked to deliver certain kinds of characteristics. And in this case, what they're trying to deliver is an experience that is lightweight, but also very cushioned. And that's what I'm getting in the Magnify Nitro 3. It's a little bit taller of a shoe. There's a little bit more padding and puffiness in the heel cup to make it just a little bit more comfortable. So days where I'm going to be either on my feet for a long time or just want a softer experience, the Magnify Nitro 3 does a really good job. And then from a racing perspective, there is a shoe from Puma called the Deviate Elite 4. Now this is a shoe that it's extremely lightweight. There's hardly anything to the upper. It's a very snug, tight fit for when you want to go fast. And there's a carbon fiber plate in here. The foam that they're using is Peba, kind of like what's in the Magnify Nitro 3, but they're using kind of a race version of Peba, which is really light, soft, but also incredibly snappy. And this is a shoe that, because of the way it's set up, I think is really well suited for heel strikers. It's not a definitive thing, whether you're a heel striker or a forefoot striker, that you're definitely gonna like or not like a certain shoe, but generally that's kind of a good place to start when you're looking at shoes. And I think this is a fantastic racing option. Now, in between the Daily Trainer and the racing shoe, there is a shoe called like the tempo shoe, the speedwork shoe, or the workout shoe. And from Puma, they have a really great example of this genre in the Deviate 4. This is the Deviate Elite 4. That's kind of the racing version. And then the tempo version or the workout version is the Deviate 4. And this is a shoe that kind of has the best of both worlds here. The upper is built for a little bit more comfort and a little bit more durability, like a Daily Trainer, but it has some faster components in it, like a racing shoe. For example, this shoe has a Peba top layer and then a carbon fiber plate. The bottom layer is a supercritical nitro foam, more of a daily training type of material. So it has some really high-end race stuff and some really comfortable daily training stuff that's in here. And this is a shoe that I'll reach for a lot of workouts, things where there will be pace changes, and a lot of the time that I'm going to be in the shoe is going a little bit faster than I might want with the Daily Trainer, but maybe it's not so big a workout that I want to go with the race shoe. That's where the tempo shoe can come in, but it's also comfortable enough that a lot of people can do some daily training in there. So depending on exactly what you're looking for in the Daily Trainer, you might just skip the Daily Trainer entirely and go with the tempo shoe. Now, there are a couple of other shoes that are in the lineup. There is a shoe that's kind of on the other end of the comfort spectrum as the Magnify, and this is the MagMax. And this is a shoe that is also very tall and has some comfort features built into it, and it's using nitro foam, which in this case, the nitro foam is supercritical daily training caliber foam. So for people that just want even more stack height in it, the MagMax 2 might be a good option, but it also is trying to be a little bit more on the peppy side. And so if you have long runs where you might be picking up the pace a little bit, some speed work inside your long runs, the MagMax 2 could be a really great option for you. And then the last shoe that I want to talk about today is another racing option from Puma, and this is the Fast R3. And I think this is my favorite Puma shoe that Puma has ever made. This is a shoe that's using aliphatic TPU, but it's a race grade TPU, so it's really light, but it's really durable. It's soft, relatively speaking, for a race day shoe, but it's also really bouncy. And this is a shoe that, with its carbon fiber plate and the way that the heel is separated from the forefoot, is a shoe that's designed more for forefoot strikers. So aside from the differences in the midsole foams, the Nitro Elite foam in the Deviate Nitro Elite is Peba, and the Nitro Elite foam in the Fast R3 is aliphatic TPU. I think these shoes are intended for different types of runners. Heel strikers should probably look for the Deviate Nitro Elite 4, and then forefoot strikers should probably be looking at the Fast R3. And so these are two shoes that I generally don't think exist in the same lineup at the same time. It's an either or situation, and I'm a forefoot striker, so I am loving the Fast R3. And these are the shoes that I think are worth taking a look at in the Puma road running lineup in spring of 2026. Now let's wrap up this video by putting all these shoes into different rotations. Not that I think everyone needs to have a closet full of shoes and has to have a built out rotation, and not that you have to have shoes from all one brand to build a running shoe rotation. But I think by putting together some use cases, I think it might help make these shoes make a little bit more sense in the context of each other. So I've already eliminated one shoe, that Deviate Nitro Elite 4, because I think it doesn't work as well for me as a racing shoe as the Fast R3. But I think we can cut this down even further to just a 4 shoe lineup. And for me, I think the first shoe that I would get rid of is the MagMax 2. I feel like there's too much overlap between the MagMax 2 and the Magnify Nitro 3, and I really like the Magnify Nitro 3. So this would be my 4 shoe lineup here, with the Velocity as the daily trainer. The Deviate I would bring out for workouts, fartleks, some speed work. My max cushion days and a lot of my daily training days would go with the Magnify Nitro 3, and then my workouts would happen and racing would happen in the Fast R3. Now, if I had to reduce this down even further to a 3 shoe rotation, I think I'd probably get rid of the Velocity, because as much as I think it's a great daily trainer, I feel like in terms of use case, there's a lot of overlap with the Magnify Nitro 3. I think the Magnify is incredibly versatile, and the Velocity is a little bit on the firm side for my preference for every day. And so the Magnify lines up a little bit more with what I'd like. So I would use the Magnify as the daily trainer and also as a recovery run shoe. Anytime I needed to go a little bit faster, I'd be in the Deviate, and then on fastest days, hardest runs, long runs with workout paces in them, that's where I would go with the Fast R3. And then if I had to reduce it down to a 2 shoe rotation, I think I'd get rid of the Deviate 4 because then I'd just lean a little bit heavier on the shoe that I really do like spending a lot of time in, the Fast R3. And with the aliphatic TPU that's in this shoe, it has a lot more durability than a racing product has typically had in the past. And so I'm not going to be as scared to reach for this shoe as often for any of my workouts. And then for anything that's in the daily training or in the recovery run space, or even just a long slow distance run, I could do that very well in the Magnify Nitro 3. And I think that's a better 2 shoe rotation than a lot of other brands have. So those are my thoughts on the Puma running shoe rotation as of May in 2026. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any questions about this shoe or any of the shoes that I talked about today, or better yet, stop by the live stream that I do Mondays and Thursdays over on the Kofuzi Run Club channel. I'd love to see you guys over there in the chat. That's all for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?